Star Wars The
DCGamers.com.
Acolyte would have featured a connection between the Stranger, which is this guy, and villain Kylo Ren. Had the show been given a season 2 and not been canceled, its showrunner has confirmed. Did we all watch The Acolyte here?
Yeah,
I did, yeah.
Unfortunately. How does this make sense?
It doesn't.
The Acolyte is several decades, if not centuries, before the prequels.
Maybe they go to the world between worlds.
The sequel series, where Kylo Ren, this is after Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, several decades after Luke Skywalker defeated Darth Vader, is the sequel series with Kylo Ren. The Acolyte is several decades, if not centuries, before the prequels. What the fuck?
I can already surmise what they're gonna do. They were probably gonna have him be the set up the Knights of Ren.
The OG.
You got to remember, like they never did anything with the Knights of Ren other than say, hey, they exist, and then have Kylo kill them in the second movie they ever appear in. And like that doesn't make any sense, but it falls in line with the fact that they were trying to do this thing where they really kind of get rid of Jedi and they get rid of Sith, and they're like, there are other factions and other people out there that know the Force. It's not just those two that have access to it all, because the idea of it being like a religious order and stuff makes them mad. I know it does. So yeah, dude, that's
it.
wild.
Absolutely does.
Yeah.
Of course, they would want to connect it to Kylo Ren. I honestly don't think that they had any plans past the first season. I don't think so either. Linking the two of the most hated eras of Star Wars, like of course they would say, we would totally tie it into the sequel trilogy. We would totally tie it into Kylo Ren. How it ended with like a preview of Darth Plagueis. Really? How are you going to tie it in to Kylo Ren through the order of through the Knights of Ren? But why are they called the Knights of Ren then if it's not like Kylo Ren? They said that Kylo Ren took a handful of students with him and he dubbed them the Knights of Ren. So how on earth would you tie that together with the Acolyte?
Because they don't know what they're doing.
No, they don't know what they're doing. But my guess is they were going to try to establish some ancient order of non-Sith entities that are also Force users or something. They got to feel like they're contributing to the lore, and you can't do that when there are already a lot of pre-established rules and stuff. And my guess is they would probably try to make it some ancient order or something that Kylo is trying to follow after, or something stupid. These people suck.
And it still doesn't make any sense because he wants to finish what Darth Vader started.
Yeah.
So it still doesn't make any sense.
Unless so the article, this is on geeksandgamers.com. Shout out to Marvin for the article. The Acolyte art book reveals that Queermere was connected to Kylo Ren, linking two of the most hated eras in Star Wars.
Yeah.
Or unless Queermere was the one that in the past put those evil bad dreams into Kylo Ren when he was a student of Luke Skywalker, but I thought that was Snoke. So, or really who was the Emperor the entire time, because somehow the Emperor survived, and Snoke was the Emperor the entire time because the Emperor was making clones. So it would be the Emperor who was putting those bad dreams into Kylo Ren's head in The Last Jedi. But you know what? Maybe it was just Queermere who was putting the bad dreams into Kylo Ren.
So stupid.
Does this make sense? No, they don't know what they're doing. Well, they finally done it. Lucasfilm found a way to connect the Acolyte to the Star Wars sequel trilogy. And if you thought the Acolyte's reputation couldn't sink any lower after its cancellation, this latest revelation might just do the trick. Because it turns out that Queermere, the stranger from Acolyte, is actually connected to none other than the recently hunted Ben Solo himself, a.k.a. Kylo Ren. According to the newly released Art of Star Wars, the Acolyte showrunner, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, I love it, Leslie Headland, confirms that Manny Jacinto's character, Queermere, also known as the Stranger, was intended to be the founder of the Knights of Ren. The shadowy group led centuries later by Kylo Ren. In other words, the most disliked Disney Plus Star Wars series was supposed to feed directly into the most diverse movie trilogy in franchise history. Well, boom, there you go. And here's a tweet from the Sight of Sci-Fi. The Star Wars book, The Art of Acolyte, reveals that if the series had progressed beyond season 1, Queer Mir, the Stranger, would have become the first Ren, founder of the Knights of Ren. Showrunner Leslie Headland states it was in the design of the character as well. No, this is revisionist history.
Yes, very much revisionist history.
Yep. They had no idea where they wanted to go with this, and they never, they had no plan. Yep.
It's revisionist history. They're hoping that people didn't pay enough attention to the sequel trilogy, which, to be fair, not a lot of people did. But yeah, it literally said, like, Luke explains the entire thing. Like, he murdered everyone, got a handful of students, and started the Knights of Ren. Yep. That's where they started, with Kylo Ren. But we're just gonna go rewrite history, and now it actually started with Chimera, whatever.
Well, because when you do that, when Leslie Headland would have done that, or thinks that she would have done that, that makes her acolyte relevant.
Yes.
Well, you know what? To be fair, all right, to give Leslie Headland some grace, she does, rewrite history a lot, because she did rewrite the Force, because the Force is now like
a thread
string or something.
She made Ki-Adi-Mundi a fucking liar and traitor to the Jedi Order.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, bro. This shit's cooked, bro. Like, it's awful. But once again, I know what they're hoping, and what she's hoping is if they drop some of this lore, that Disney will go, you know what? We've noticed there's a lot of interest in this. We noticed that maybe, because they're still blaming us for the reason the show isn't on. I mean, there were people on Twitter just the other day saying, if it wasn't for those toxic, online people, the show would still be on the air right now. Like, Disney listened to us when they canceled it, other than or looked at the numbers and went, nobody's watching this garbage.
Oh, dude, if you go to this tweet from IGN, most of the replies, I don't want to go too far. Most of the replies are like talking about the show being terrible and glad that it's canceled and that this was just an abomination. Yeah. But then you have some other people. It's like, well, the lifelong toxic Star Wars fanboys, they're the ones that ruined the show. We would have gotten more. We'd have gotten season 2 and got to see Queer Mir and the black bitch. Fuck. We would have gotten our space opera of just fucking smuts and just this weird sexual tension relationship, and it's like, holy fuck.
You said it.
How fucking horny are you?
That want the acolyte back are lonely women who are thirsting over Chimera, right? Who read those disgusting smut milking books. Like, those are the types of people that want a season 2 of the Acolyte, because they want to thirst after this actor. Like, that is the only reason. They want to see him with his shirt off again. They want to see Chimera back in the Acolyte. That's the only reason that they want.
That's who they marketed this to. That's who those are the fans that they wanted in Star Wars now. Those are the people that they've been trying to cater to this whole time. And guess what? They didn't show up and watch. There aren't enough of them to show up and watch your show.
Mm-hmm.
They just ain't. They ain't there. This ain't it, Chief.